All right. Hello. Hi. Do not join the meeting. Do not join the meeting. Okay?
Sorry?
No, I'm not. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the person who joined on. Okay. If you are joining here, make sure the microphone is off. Okay, and your speaker is completely low. Okay. I'm doing that just to have a recording on Teams. That's quicker. And also, I'm recording the screen too at the same time. If I have time, I'm going to post it on YouTube. So we'll see what happens. Wow, the class is much considerably crowded than the last time, which is cool. So, may I have my talking stick? Okay. It has to come. Yeah. This is for you. Here we go. Okay. So, workshop 0 is going to be due next week or this week. I don't know. Check the you know how to check the due date using Submitter. If you don't know, it's just type the command as you want to submit a workshop and add a dash due at the end. Okay, if you do that, or just type submit and hit enter, and you'll see it gives you the guidelines. So I'll show it to you. So if you want to know the due date of anything, so you log into to Matrix. So this is Matrix that I'm logged into. If you type tilde farda.suleimanlu/submit and you hit enter, it tells you what are the things you can do. Dash due shows the due date only. Skip spaces. If you couldn't match it's being recorded, my friend. But it's okay. It's okay. Everything's being recorded. But if you want to record, by all means, do it. No problem. Skip spaces. It means if you cannot match the output with spaces, it ignores it. Blank lines, if you have extra blank lines and it doesn't match, you can use that one. Feedback doesn't submit it. So if it's not open for submission, or if the due date is passed and you want to check it to see if it works or not, you put dash feedback. Dash feedback runs the whole test without submitting it. And it doesn't check for any due date or anything. So these are the things that the submitter does. You can actually try it. Yeah. So that's that. So I start the session by first, we're going to go to OOP244. In OOP244, we have a repository for, so Seneca OOP244 organization. This is your OOP FARDA NAA notes. I'm going to first clone it over here. I don't think we had anything over here. Oh, we did actually. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to clone it here. I don't know if I have it. If I don't, I'm going to clone it. Otherwise, I'm going to pull it. So on this computer, I have documents, Seneca OOP244. Let's see if this is previous semester or now. Oh, this is a current one. So the very first thing you do before doing anything, you right click and you go toward the skit, you pull. That's the first thing you do whenever you want to start coding or doing anything on your computer. You pull and it says, if it says already up to date, it means nothing has changed from last time. If it doesn't say already up to date, it means either you have done something somewhere else with the thing, or I have changed something in your repository. For you, this repository is read-only. Don't modify anything in it. For that NAA notes, copy stuff out of it and put it in your row repository, do something with it. My repository, for you, it's read-only. You can't do anything with it. So if you want to get any code from here and work on it, then you make sure you copy that into your own directory. So now that it's pulled, I'm going to actually create the project in it. So I'm going to create the project in it. So empty project at all times. Next. Then I'm going to select where I actually want to do this. This is not OOP345. Let's go to OOP244 NAA notes. And in the notes, I want to create one. I'm going to select the folder. It means it's created over there. Now in here, I'm going to say 02. It means the second session. And September 9th is the date. Make sure this checkbox is checked. If you don't, this checkbox, it means you want to have 5 different projects in a solution. We are writing a loop to write 10 things. We are not having 5 projects in a solution. Our solution is our project. So check that one to place the solution and project in the same directory. And we're going to do create. If you have followed workshop 0 instructions properly, you have updated your git ignore to ignore all the unnecessary files. Therefore, don't worry about anything. Do all the work that you want in your repository. When you push stuff on GitHub, only the required files will be pushed. And when you pull only required files will be pulled. You're not going to have any problems over there. I have checked most of the collaboration requests that came through me. When you actually look at your own repository, you see these issues over here. Take a look at that. If that issue shows 1 or 2 or something like that, it means I opened up your repository, there was a mistake or problem with it, and I opened the issue. And that issue tells you what's wrong, okay? Then you can fix it and you can close the issue. If your repository had an issue, it means that your workshop is not complete. Take a look at it, you'll see. So far, these are the people I have received the repositories for, and that's how I get to you. So as soon as you need help, I click on your name, your repository comes up, then I can take a look at it. Anybody over here did give me 2 seconds. Anybody over here have done the repository properly? Okay. Do you mind if I showed yours? No. Okay, which one is you?
Adrian Lance Gordon. The 4th one.
The 4th.
Haldane.
Oh, Haldane, okay. So, there we go. So, as you see, oh, thank you, actually. I appreciate it. It's actually done very well. Pardon me?
I think you misclicked.
Did I? Someone else's? Whoever it is, he did an amazing job. I don't know whose it is. Is it? Do you mind if who's this? Do you mind if I show it? This is actually good. Which one I clicked?
That's my one.
You click the one above it.
Oh, Tian, do you mind if I use this?
Yeah.
Can I?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. So because it's done very well, that's what I'm going to use. So this is workshops for 244, which is kind of over-explaining because you are in OOP244. Just workshops would have done. Obviously, it's for 244 because we are in a 244 repository. And it's workshop 0 that it's done in it. Sandbox is a very professional way to create a directory in which you want to do dirty stuff. You want to write a piece of code, test it, see how things work, do messy stuff. They call it sandbox. Geeks do that because kids play in a sandbox. So it's essentially that. So you do that. Git ignore extremely important to have everything in it exactly as I asked, and this one has, which means it ignores all the Visual Studio crappy files and all the things that are not supposed to be passed through. It ignores it. If you have Mac, it ignores those too. So it only files that are good goes up and down. So yeah, so if I'm going to pretend that there is something wrong with it, so Jen, there's nothing wrong with this. I'm just explaining to everyone, okay? So if there's an issue, then I'm going to just do something like this. I'm going to click on the issue. I'm going to create a new issue, and I'm going to say nothing wrong. Just a demo. Okay? And I'm going to say fix this and that. Okay? And then I'm going to create the issue. And if you have set up your email properly, you will receive an email telling that a new issue is in your repository. Take a look at it. Then you're going to go to the issue and you see Fardad opened it, and this is the thing. So you can actually either create a sub issue or you can close the issue. Simply after doing that, you can simply close the issue and be done with it. So you close issue, and you got to say so you write over here something like this was only a demo. Close with comment. So issue is closed. Done. Okay? So we know how everything is fixed. So if you have any comments from me, please take a look at it. And that's how we track everything in our GitHub repository. So anyways, so now that I have created this, so here I'm going to right click over here. I'm going to add a new item, and that's going to be prg.cpp. And in prg.cpp, I'm going to say include IO stream. Then I'm going to say using namespace std. In here, I'm going to say int main, return 0. And in here, I'm going to say cout, OOP, insert to console output, OOP244. OOP244 what? OOP244, September 9th. Insert a new line, insert an end line, Control F5 compiles and runs the code. I compile and run the code, and 3 years later, the code is compiled. And this error messages that I get, you won't get because I have OpenSSL directory a library installed. It gives me that all the time, so don't worry about it. That's not an error. Yours is not going to give you that. So that's the executable. Are we good? All right. So,
Do you mind if I just take a picture of that?
pardon me?
What is IO stream?
Oh, we'll talk about. That's the entire semester, my friend. we'll go through it step by step. Are we good down to this point?
Just one.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Pardon me?
Sorry, my phone's
Okay. So that's that, and so what was the last thing that I talked about in class? Actually, we had probably only 10 people in class last time, so I presume that I didn't say anything. I'll start from scratch. Okay. I'm bringing up the subject notes, so we don't need this. I'm going to go back to 244. Oh, no, not there, not there, not there, not there, not there. NAA. By the way, Notes Archive is all semesters that I have done in here. If you go over here, you're going to see all the codes that I have done in class. So, like, for example, these are the codes that I have done at the time. So anything that I have done since, I don't know, God knows when. Okay, it's there. So those are all the teachings that I've done in class. If you want to have extra material, that's where you go. Okay, that's that. The next thing we want to do, open your subject.
Sorry, where are the notes?
And then course information. Oh, we don't have the notes. Do we have a link to the notes here?
We do.
These are in class. Addendum. No, we don't.
For
Yeah, this one, do we have for this one? I don't think we have that. Do we have it with that? I don't think.
No, we don't.
So let me add it right now. I'm gonna say copy over here. Okay, and I'm gonna go back.
How do you get the,
I strongly suggest, for those with laptops, you're not supposed to follow and copy me in class, okay? You're not supposed to do any in class. You're just supposed to be eyes and ears, okay? So going after stuff and trying to repeat as I'm doing, this is not a lab, this is a class, okay? So try to just follow. Everything's being recorded, so you can do it later on. Pay attention to what I'm doing in class to have least amount of distraction. So under course information, or maybe I'm gonna put it up here. I'm just gonna put something here and I'm gonna say create link. And I'm gonna say, what do I do? There you go, OOP244 study notes. There you go, it's right there. And this is the URL for it. And save. So now we have a link.
it's the study notes for students. Yeah, that magic page.
Okay, so that's gonna, okay. Welcome to object-oriented. That's what we're going to talk about today. We have done a quiz in the class. Quiz 0, I called it. And I gave something people to write to see how good they're gonna do in C. I'm gonna just wipe it all out because I see more people now. I'm gonna do it again. So we're gonna have another thing. I'm gonna come over and just give you a pop-up question and ask you to use your C knowledge to write something for me. Okay? And I just want to see what is the level of the class I'm teaching. So you're gonna get feedback from me that, hey, you have to study this, you have to study that, this is the weak part of yours, these are your strengths. Like, I'll give you feedback on what is your C knowledge. So, I'm heavy, it's gonna, okay. So, C++, the name tells exactly what it is. It has plus plus at the end. And plus plus means add 1, right? So C++ is essentially C language with one extra feature, that is object orientation. Now the extra feature over here is a little fishy. People actually make fun of it. They say that when plus plus comes after the variable, it's not gonna add 1 unless the statement is over, right? So they say even you have a bug in your name. So funny, but who cares? I believe it's a cool name. Maybe they could have called it plus plus C. But anyways, so C++ has one more feature than C in its object orientation, which means everything you have done in C works in C++. Everything. One feature is added to it that is called object orientation. Object orientation is not a language. It's the way of thinking. It's the way of organizing your thought around the problem to see how to replicate real-world problems in your program. And it's something that came a long time ago. They started a long time ago, but it stuck. It's something that it matched so well that they're using it for everything now. Okay. Did we talk about AI in this class? How to use it? Okay. So for those who did not hear it and how to use AI for all this stuff and why, because many of you have the question in their mind, why do I bother programming? Do you learn any programming? I'm going to ask ChatGPT to write it for me. Why do I bother? All right? Ask me in lab and I'll explain to you why. Okay?
And I can answer that. AI creates code with security flaws that you
It actually gets better and better every time. Now, like ChatGPT 5 has the knowledge of a PhD person in that thing. So they can create stuff, but I'll explain later. Anyways, ask it in lab, okay? In 2 years, 2027, your lives, our lives, going to be so much different that it's something that our brains cannot understand. We as human beings are used to see everything linear. What does it mean? It means when a ball is thrown to you, you look at the ball and you see it's coming, you go hop and you catch it, right? So you predict the trajectory of the ball when it comes towards you because it has a linear projection. When you put a plant over here and the plant grows, it has a linear projection. You know that in 2 days it's going to happen at this, 3 days happening, so on and so forth, okay? Now, the way that computer science is going forward is not linear. It's exponential, which means it took 20 years to get from kindergarten stuff to a program that actually does something. Then it took 5 years for that program to become fantastic. Then it takes 2.5 years for that program become something that controls everything. Then it takes 1 year for that program to control you. So it's exponential. It means essentially it goes upwards, it's not linear. Because of that, we cannot, like, but I say in 2027, because it's 2 years from now, a year and a half from now, and a year and a half from now means 20 years advancement. It's going to happen in a year and a half, okay? So we have to be prepared for it. For that, you need to understand how computers work, okay? And to understand how computers work, you need to learn how they are being programmed. If you're not a good programmer, you can't use anything. You become something that is going to be used. If you want to use that advancement, you need to know how it works. Otherwise, you can't ask the right questions, okay? If that's that. So what is object orientation? Object orientation is a simulation of real world in your applications. I did the close your eyes thing in class, right? But half of you weren't here. But anything that we do in real life, from our experience, it has a source that is coming in. It's our perception, okay? So I do that. Everybody looks here and looks at my fingers, and they know sound came from here. You know this, it creates it, right? If I just do like this, and you hear the sound come out of my hand, then it's got to be a magic show, right? So what the hell, right? Or if my mouth is closed, like, you know, those guys with the doll thingy, and I start talking, it's something strange. It means you have an action happening without a source. Object orientation makes everything look like an object in real world, which means it follows 3 basic concepts, basic cores, basic pillars to implement, to make your application act like what we have in outside world. You asked the question I forgot to answer. Well,
How where to see the video?
video? Okay, I'm not sure yet. It's an experimental thing that I'm doing on Teams, but the team that you are a member of on Microsoft Teams, it should have after this a meeting in it. Then if you click on its recap, there should be a video in there. Okay. And I am recording these things. As soon as I have time, I'm going to create a playlist and dump it all on YouTube. Okay? These 3 pillars first solves the same problem. The problem that I do, any action has an owner, and that action affects the owner only unless it's towards another object. Okay? Which means if I take this water bottle and I empty it, the amount of water inside this bottle is going to get reduced, not that bottle. You follow what I'm saying? It's funny when you say it in real world. Of course, William. Like, you know, if I slap myself in a face, my face is going to hurt, not his. You follow what I'm saying? Any action from an object has a direct effect on the object itself. When you drive a car, the gas in the car will be reduced because you are converting it to an energy, or the battery is going to get depleted if it's an electric car, right? Not the other car. When you push the accelerator on a car, your car is going to go faster, not the car beside you. Which means behavior of this each car is essentially tied to the specification of that one. Any object contains its own information. I have brown eyes and bald head, okay? And black eyes and black hair. So each person has its own specifications. You follow what I'm saying? In C language, we have the capability of packing the data inside a record. We call it a structure. The problem with that structure is that that structure cannot contain functionality, which means if you wanted to print a transcript, you had to create a structure called transcript with all the information of a transcript. Then you have to write a separate function that accepts a transcript as an argument. Then you pass the transcript to that function, and the function prints your transcript, right? Again, as I mentioned that, it's as if for any of us to be able to talk, we need to have to go in a box, like a telephone booth. And the telephone booth at the top says talk. We are all mute. Nobody can talk, human being. If you want to talk, you have to open the door, go in there, close, now you can talk, because you are in a function talk. That's stupid. That doesn't happen in real world. Every single human being is capable of somehow talking in own language, sign language, anything. Any ways you can convey you can communicate with others, right? Okay. So I'm going to write a few pieces of code over here that is extremely, it's looking forward a lot. Okay, it's looking forward a lot. And the first day, usually I do that. I show you the stuff that it tries to, and then we're going to teach all those things in next few weeks that we are going through. So essentially what I told you is that if I have a structure called name. Name is, I want to put something easy. I want to give you something very easy. If I have a structure called phone number, okay? And then in that phone number, I have an integer for area code, and I have an integer for number, okay? Okay with this? Now, if I want to dial this number, this phone number, what do? I create a function called dial, and to that one I pass a structure phone number, correct? Which I made some boo-boos over here. First of all structures should start with a capital letter. Secondly, in C++, unlike C language, when you create a structure, that structure becomes a type. So you don't need to say struct anymore. This will suffice. Okay, so you don't need to repeat the structure. If you create a structure, that becomes a type. We call it a custom type or a compound type. Why they call it compound? Because a phone number type has two primitive types in it. It comes with a package. It's like you go to McDonald's and say combo number 1, and that's, I don't know, Big Mac with fries and Coke, right? It's the same thing over here. This is a compound type. This is how we deal with it, and this dial thingy of ours in here it's going to say cout dialing. In here, I'm going to say area. And actually, let's just, yeah, sure, why not? And then I'm going to put the number, which is number. But we know that this area and number actually belong to phone number, right? Are we okay with this? Huh? Okay. And if you want to actually set a phone number, what you do, you create set, and you say over here integer area and integer number. And then you have to have a phone number too. And since we all know pointers perfectly and nicely, I'm going to say over here phone number, pointer, PN, okay? And now this actually sets the phone number. So now I can say PN, area is set to area. And I can say PN, number is set to number. Now I can actually write a code over here. So I can actually create a phone number. So phone number, my number. Now I can say my set address of my number to 416-555-1234, right? And now I can say dial my number. Are we all okay with this? I'm kind of reviewing C for you. You good with this? Questions? Suggestions? Objections? All right. So how do we run this? There's a beautiful thing called F10. You press F10 over here, and it starts debugging. So I actually run the program, and it starts debugging like this, and it says, there we go. And so I'm going to put my code at left, and I'm going to put the execution at right, and I'm going to keep going. Any F10 that you press, it runs that code. So F10, it prints OOP. I have a bug in the name, sorry. OO244, it's OOP244. Then it's setting my number, which means passes the address of the number. Let me just reduce the size of it. Back there, can you see this?
Yes.
We're good? Okay, so just a moment. So now it's passing the address of number. Now I'm pressing F11. F11 goes inside the function. F10 jumps through it. So I'm going to say F11 goes inside the function. And now it actually sets my number's area to 416 and the number to that number 555, whatever. Now it comes out of the function. Now if I look at my number, you'll see that my number has 416 or whatever, correct? Now I'm saying dial, and I'm pressing F11, it goes inside, it says dialing, and it's going to dial that number for me. Are we okay with this? Questions? And program ends and we get up. Questions? No question? Good.
The structure name is PN, but the structure type is phone number.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to save this, and this is how I do it. So this one I'm going to save Alt-FA, and I'm going to save this one as A, and I'm going to call it C phone number. So this is a C phone number. This is how we did it in C. Now let's do it in C++. Close all that. The only thing I need is Solution Explorer. I gotta come back over here. C++ says each object can carry its own behavior. When you have a phone number can be dialed. So you don't need to dial a number. You tell to the number, dial, and number will be dialed. Therefore, you can bring that function inside the structure. Okay? Now that you're bringing inside the structure, isn't this dial inside the phone number?
Yeah.
Therefore, it has access to area and number. There is no need to pass anything to it. If I told you, drink water, I'm not going to tell you, drink water with your mouth. I don't have to tell you where. Or drink water to yourself. When I say drink water, it's you. There you go. He's drinking water. Okay, so that's, and he's drinking. So that's what happens when you are telling to an object to do something. You don't need to pass anything to that because it knows what it is. If my head scratches, I know where it is. I'm not going to scratch his head. Right? No. Right? Are we good? So that's that. So I can simply remove that. And I don't need any p and shmi n because area belongs to that and number belongs to that. Same thing with the set. I'm going to take that set thingy and put it inside the class. Sorry, that structure. And therefore, I do not need to pass which phone number should be set. I am setting you. Therefore, nothing is passed to it. Of course, I have to pass the area and number. That's what I want it to be set to. But I don't need to pass anything else. Therefore, this is not needed, and this is not needed. Now, what my program's going to look like? Instead of saying set and passing the phone number to it, I'm going to say, hey, my number, set yourself, if I can type it. My number, set yourself to 416, yada, yada, yada. It goes to my number. It's, oh, and this is a wrong thing to do. That's why, so as you see, it says area is equal to area and number is equal to number. That's a bad thing to do. That's why it's a rule that you're going to start from now till the time you graduate from Seneca and you go to another company and they give you another way to code. Always the member variables should start with M underline to remove conflict. So it's better to call M underline and M underline. So there is no conflict anymore. So that's M underline. And the same thing over here. So this becomes M underline. M underline, which means member. M underline and M underline. I should have done this. I made a mistake from the beginning, but anyways, I got too excited. But that's what it is. So I'm saying the area code of that one. So the area code of the number is set to the area. So my number, set yourself, right? And now if I want this to get dialed, what do I do? Instead of passing it to that one, I'm going to say my number, dial yourself. Right? When I run this, it comes over here. Obviously, my number is all garbage. There is nothing in it, right? Then it goes to set. Now it says, get the 416, put it in the area. So 416 goes to M area, put the number, put it in M number. That's that. It comes out. And when it comes out, now my number is 416, yada, yada, yada. Then you come and say, hey, dial yourself. It goes over there. It already knows what the number is because it's its property. It belongs to its own. We just said it. And therefore, it's going to print that one out. We good? Okay? And another good thing is that now we can have series of stuff. So in here, I'm going to say B OO I would like to say semi-OO because it's not something, it needs much more to be object-oriented. I'm just giving you some. So I'm going to say OO phone number. We're going to learn this in week 4. So it's all kind of preview of what's coming. But I'm showing you that it's not something complicated because it all, what we do in real life, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay? So now, going back to my C knowledge, if I can actually do something like this, take a look. I can come over here, so remove that set thingy. I can actually do something like this. I can say nums say 3, and I'm going to say set to. By the way, in new C, you don't need to put assignment over here anymore. That means you're setting it in new C++. You can say equal, fine, but if you don't, it doesn't matter. You're still setting it. It's the same thing. So in here, I'm going to say 416, 555, 1234, or whatever. So this one's going to be this. Whoa, too much. And this one's going to be this. Okay? So I have 3 phone numbers over there. Now what I can do over here is this. I can say for integer I set to 0, I less than 3, and I plus plus. I think soon I'm going to continue using that box that I have back there because typing on a small keyboard for me is very difficult. All my life I've used, you see that black box back there? That's my teaching tool actually. It's probably I'm going to use that later on, not to lag too much, but nums I dot dial. Okay, so now I have 3 numbers, and each one is actually dialing by itself. So if I actually run this program, you'll see that it goes through a loop, and all 3 are dialed. So as you see, and in each one is a different dial of its own. So now you simply, I'm saying, what's your name? It says Jack. What's your name? John. What's your name? I don't know. Jack and John, that was the extent of my knowledge with names. Bill. Okay. So so each person knows their own name. All I need to do is to ask them. All right? Okay. And it's the same thing over here. Ladies and gentlemen, this, and I want you to remember, this is going to be on the quiz. And when I say it's on the quiz, I'm going to actually write it down to remember it's going to be on the quiz. I'll put it over here. This is for today. So it's OOP244. The good thing is that my handwriting is so bad that if I give you this, you don't know what the questions are going to be. But anyways, so this is called encapsulation, putting the data and behavior together. Encapsulation, putting the data and behavior together. Okay? So that's the first pillar of object orientation, putting the data and behavior together. Are we okay with this? Are we okay? All right. It has some side effects. So later on we're going to learn, because I just did this, right? I manually set these numbers to something. If number can set itself, I should not be able to set it manually. Like even if I want to give you $10, let's say I want to give you $10, you'll be happy, right? $10, you go buy yourself a coffee, right? What if I bring the $10 and I slowly put it in your pocket? What's going to happen? A slap in the face. What did I do? I invaded privacy. We have the exact same thing over here. I can make all these numbers private, saying that you cannot see a phone number unless you ask it. You cannot just open its guts to see what's inside. So we have all these mechanisms. We can actually make things visible, like you can see color of my shirt. That's public, right? But you cannot see if I'm happy or not. That's private. You follow what I'm saying? We all have private and public properties. That's what it is. So we can do all those things in here. You will see, we'll see and learn later on. The second thing is that, let's say I want to set this number. So if I say, in here I'm going to put the, in here I'm going to put this one, 416. I'll put 647. Okay, 647. Whatever. Holy mother. Whatever. Okay. So, and I'm going to make this one 4. Okay. Which means we have a fourth one that we can set. So. So 2 of them we're going to do manually. So in here I can actually say, I can say nums I, 0, 1, 2 dot set. In here I'm going to say 647, 647, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's the number that I'm setting. But let's say if I don't tell you what the area code is, say, what is your number? 925-60523. It means your number is 416. So if I just tell you what my number is without area code, it means it's 416. I'm still setting it, right? So I should be able to do that. I should be able to say, hey, set int number. If they only give me the number, then area code is 416, and number is whatever they gave me. You follow? That's impossible in C. In C, you cannot have 2 functions with the same name. Can you? No. In here you can. An action, same action can be done in different ways, which means I can actually set another one, but this one only receives the number. Something like that. So the fourth number of mine will now be 416 when I run it. So as you see, I can do the same thing in different ways. This is one example for it. In real life,
Which one does it choose to use based on the data?
it knows which one. You don't need to worry about it. When you create 2 functions, one of them has 1 argument, the other one has 2 arguments. When you put 2 arguments, the compiler knows the one with 2 is called. When you put 1, okay, let me give you this. If there's a pigeon and you say shoo and pigeon flies, it flies, right? If there is an airplane and you tell to the airplane to fly, it flies, right? Do they fly the same way? No, but they both fly. It's the same thing. In real life, same action is always done in different way, depending on who is doing it and how it's being done. Always. Right? It's always like that. If you go to salsa club and they tell you dance, you dance salsa. If you go to a nightclub and they are putting some pop music, you dance pop, not salsa. So you are dancing, but in a different way. Follow what I'm saying? Okay. So that's the second feature of object orientation. We call it polymorphism. Many shapes. Many shapes.
How to spell?
Poly, P-O-L-I, P-O-L-Y. Morphism is morph, M-O-R-P-H-I-S-M, morphism, polymorphism. So the first one was encapsulation, and the second one is polymorphism. So what is polymorphism? And this is interview answer. If somebody asks you what is polymorphism, you've got to say doing the same thing in different ways. What is encapsulation? Putting the data and its behavior together. Right? Are we good down to this point? Last but not least, as I mentioned in the class, yes?
I forget. What do you take for the polymorphism?
Doing the same thing in different ways. Last thing, important thing to know. Last thing, that I'm not going to write the code for it. That becomes too advanced. We'll learn it soon.
You're gonna post the code, right?
Oh, everything, yeah. Everything's going to be on GitHub.
It's so good.
Everything's going to be on GitHub. I told this, I think, previously in class. For those who have already heard it, then to hear it again. Say you're in a village somewhere that they've never seen a motorcycle in their lives. They only have seen bicycles and cars. That's it. If you want to explain what a motorcycle is, what do? You tell them, hey, it's a bicycle with an engine on it. Right? Now everybody knows what a motorcycle is. What did you do? You reused a design to create a new thing. You have an already existing entity. You used all the features of that entity, added and modified few features, and now you have a new one. You had a bicycle, now you have a motorcycle. Actually, I'm sorry, you had a vehicle. Vehicle falls to category. Vehicle is something that carries people. Then out of a vehicle, you created a bicycle. Then out of a bicycle, you created a motorcycle. This is called inheritance. Inheritance is reusing design. It's an object-oriented way of reusing code. In C, you wrote a function, you kept calling it here or there. That's how you reuse design. In C++, we go much further. We actually design an entire functional object, and we tell you, now you can inherit. Like, for example, you want to create a transcript to show somebody's marks, okay? Imagine if you already have an object called list that shows names and values. All you need to do is to say transcript is a list that has names of subjects and the marks, and we add a name of a student to it. So essentially, you don't implement the list anymore. You just get the list, modify it to your needs, add some features to it, and you have your code. That's called inheritance, reusing design. In real life, and I've read in some old books that they explain it so badly, they say inheritance is like mother and daughter, father and son. Absolutely wrong. My father and I are same object, actually, created out of the same class called the male human being, or a human being. If you want to think about relationship between me and my mother and my father, we are all human beings. And if you believe in evolution, we came from, what was the name of that thing? Homo sapiens, whatever, okay? Something like that. So inheritance, or we are mammals, let's put it that way. So human is a mammal that, yada, yada. So that way we do the inheritance. If you want to think about the relationship of me, my father, and my mother, actually I should think about it like this. My mother, had a function called birth that returned a human being. The function was called by my father, and I was born. That's the object-oriented revision of what I've done with relationship between my father and my mother. Okay, this is how it's done. So again, remember, inheritance is only design. It's not one object creating another object. One object creating another object is simply a function returning a value. Okay, but inheritance is in design. Are we good? So three things: inheritance, encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. Three pillars of object orientation. These three, if applied together with synergy, what is the meaning of synergy?
To synchronize.
To synchronize and work in harmony. If you implement these three things in synergy, you have an object-oriented system. Okay? And remember that did I talk about abstraction in this class? A little bit. So abstraction is required for any kind of programming. But it's good to mention that abstraction with these three things together is inheritance. What is abstraction? Abstraction essentially means focus on what you need and ignore the rest. Okay? So if you want to do an accounting program, you don't care if the accountant is blonde. That doesn't matter. That's not within the category of an accounting program. Yes, sir.
Sorry, can you just please mention, name the three things again? So what were the three things?
Encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. It's very much known. You Google it, you're going to see 5,000 things. Yes.
Inheritance, what is the meaning? You said it.
Inheritance,
Yeah.
reusing design.
Overuse the design.
Reusing design.
Overuse.
Okay, so each class, what we call this actually a class. When you put, so now buzzwords. Variables in, first of all, the structure, we don't call it structure anymore. It's called a class. So from now on, I'm not going to mention class anymore, structure anymore. It's class. So when I say class, it's a structure, okay? So a class that contains variables. Any variable inside the class, you call it an attribute. That's an object-oriented terminology, attribute. C++ calls it member variable. Okay? But if you open an object-oriented book, language that doesn't target any specific language, it's called an attribute. And we call it attribute all the time. So attribute, member variables, same. Number two, the functions inside a class, they are called methods. So when I say a method, it means a function that belongs to a class. Guess what C++ calls it? Member functions. Okay? So member functions, member variables, attribute, methods, or data and behavior. Okay? If you want to go philosophically about it. Okay? Every behavior affects its own data, yada, yada, yada. Okay? So that's that. Those are the three things about object orientation. Questions? Yes?
So struct is the class, so we don't even have the keyword class?
Yes, we do have a keyword class. We'll come to it soon. Okay. Struct, and struct comes from C. They changed it to class. They have minor differences, I'll explain. I could have called that a class, but you will see if I do this. Take a look. You see all these things that I've done over here, and I wrote this set and stuff like that. Now take a look, see what happens. Function, phone number, set, yada, yada, is inaccessible. Remember our privacy? Class is a structure that nothing is accessible in it unless you tell it that it's accessible. So a class is a structure that is private by default. A structure is a class that is public by default. And you learn how to make things public and private later on. Okay? That's because you asked. We good?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. So what is the time? We are till 5:05, right? 5 minutes break. Yeah, just breathe, do some schmiggly dingy, and then we'll continue the rest, okay? And I can see what I'm about to be. Oh, you have one responsibility, extreme important responsibility in this class. When I give you a break, you have to remind me to continue recording after, because I pause and I forget, okay? I do.
I just booked like 15 minutes to do it yesterday, tomorrow, just to show her.
Book an appointment, my dear. Book an appointment. You don't need to ask for it. Just book an appointment.
It's full of the books.
Just book an appointment. That's it. Just book an appointment. Easy breezy. Give me a second video, but when it goes on YouTube, it's going to be one continuous thing. So, first off, now that it's been recorded, for those people just joined, please go to the subject page and read everything carefully. Okay? So, study notes, these are the notes that we have, that we work on. In-class notes are where I post everything. It's a GitHub repository. It's read-only. So when you clone the in-class notes, when you clone, especially you, my friend, who like to clone the thing, when you clone the in-class notes, remember, use it as read-only. Don't modify anything. If you want to play with the code in there, copy it in your own repository in the sandbox. Play with it in there. Don't modify stuff in my repository, because then you don't have any access to it. And when you try to pull it again, it's going to give you conflict. Don't do that. So don't modify in-class notes. If you want to do anything with them, literally, you cannot copy the whole repository. A repository cannot be inside another repository. Okay? You cannot copy the entire thing, but you can go inside and copy its files to your own repository and do whatever you want to do with it. So what I would, and that's the best way of doing it. Read the course informations, addendum. That's important. Very important thing, faculty information, office, and help. How to book an appointment with me, what is online office, and what is the contact information. Please do not send me any email. You send me an email, I'll respectfully tell you, please use Microsoft Direct Messaging for subject communication, okay? So anything you want to tell me, any message you have, go on Microsoft Teams, send me a private message. Do not send me an email, please, okay? Email is for logging purposes only, in case something emergency happens and you want just to drop an email to tell me that, hey, I sent you this message, I didn't have access to Teams, I just wanted to tell you that I can't come to the test, or my mom is sick, or I am sick, things like that, when you don't have access to Microsoft Teams. Go through contact information. Quizzes is where we're going to do the quiz. Midterm is where we're going to do the midterm and a final, and that's that. The rest, it's all as we are talking about right now. We good down to this point? So, okay, so let's go back in here. Oops, I opened the Visual Studio by mistake. No, this one, we don't need that. I need, okay, so why? It's interesting, it doesn't click. Okay, all right, so how compiler works. We do modular programming. What does it mean? It means we're going to separate the logics that are intertwined in the same file. We do not write one file for our projects and the work that we are doing. We're going to have several files. For example, if I create a program for a restaurant, I'm going to have a class called menu, and I'm going to have that class in one file that has its own header file. Did you in IPC 144 you did header files and files, right? So you know what they're. Fantastic, good. So that's fantastic. So you're going to have several modules. And how compiler works? The several modules that you have, when you issue a compile command on Linux, or you say ask Visual Studio to compile the code, four steps happen. Okay? Step number 1, pre-compiling. Pre-compiling is taking care of all the hashtags. When you're writing a code, any command that you write that starts with hashtag, it has nothing to do with C or C++. It's a language that tells the compiler, do something before you compile. You had define statements in C, right?
Yeah.
That define statement is simply a search and replace. It has nothing to do with C language. You're telling, look for this thing, replace it with this before you start compiling. When you do include, you think you're adding library? No, it's just a copy and paste. You're telling, this is the file. Go copy the content here before you compile. That's literally what it is. That's pre-compilation, which means compiler, before it wants to actually look at your C code, it starts expanding all the hashtags to what they mean. Now, there are several different things, we don't care, but again, it keeps going. Maybe one include includes a file that has an include in there. So it keeps doing it over and over and over and over until all the hashtags are removed and C code is replaced instead. C++ code, C code, whatever. After that it's done, the process of compilation begins, which means translating human C++ code, C++ language, into machine code. And this happens to the number of modules you have in your project. If I have 1.cpp, 2.cpp, 3.cpp, and main.cpp, because I have 4 modules, the compiler will run 4 times. And each time it's not aware of existence of anything else. So when it's compiling 1.cpp, it has no idea there is a thing called 2.cpp. It compiles this independently and creates a machine code only out of that one. Then it has its own header file and stuff. You never mention a header file in your compile line because include essentially brings the file anyways, so you don't do that. So you compile the second one, it only compiles the second one and creates an object file for it. You compile the third one the same, fourth one the same. After all these things are compiled, if the syntax was good, everything was compiled properly, then it puts them all together in one executable. That's called link. So first pre-compile, then compile, then link. After these 3 things are gone, an executable will be handed to you. You run that executable and it runs. That's the 4th stage. So at 4th stage, you don't need your compiler anymore. You can throw it away. You have the executable. Got it? Now, promises made should be promises kept. If anybody's joining from the thing, please make yourself mute. All right. So, did I hear okay, it was a reflection, right? It wasn't in my mind. It wasn't, I'm not. Everybody heard it too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought I'm going nuts. Okay, so, in that 2.cpp, let's say you have a function called foo. okay? And you put the prototype of the function in the header file, as you do, right? Now, 3.cpp is using function foo. That's why it included the header file of 2.cpp here. You see that? Okay? When it compiles it, when it's being compiled, the only thing that is being compiled is the prototype of foo, not the function itself. It doesn't know even the function exists. You just making a promise that, hey, there is a function called foo somewhere. Trust me. Just translate its calling. It's going to come later. You know what it sounds like? It's as if I tell you there is a tutor in Learning Center. When you have a problem, go to the tutor and ask for help.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be happy, right?
Yeah.
This is compile time. This is when there is no syntax error. I told you there is a tutor in here, and you compile and you say, yes, perfect. Now comes the link time. You are linking it together. Link here means promises made are kept, which means to actually link all these together, say, yes, now I want to be an OOP244 student, you actually go to the Learning Center to see if there is a tutor or not. If there is a tutor over there, you say, yes, so when the time comes, I can call them. Link is successful. But if you go this, you see there is no tutor, although the compilation was successful, you're going to give me a link error. Hey, you told me there's a tutor. No one's there. That's when you get a link error. So compile errors happen when individually are being compiled. You may have many things promised that may go wrong at link time. So compile time is syntax. It means you are supposed to write C out, you wrote B out. In link time, it means you made some promises. Did you keep them? Sorry, I have to keep my phone on. I told you at the beginning of the semester it's going to remain on to the end. So when they actually get together like this, then they're going to get linked and everything's good. But then it comes time to execute the program. So after the link is there, executable is there, now you run the program. When you run the program, that's where your logic is tested. You were supposed to do something 4 times, you did 5 times. So there is nothing wrong with the program. Logic is wrong. Or you thought some resources are available, like you wanted to write on a hard disk, but the hard disk is not there, or memory stick is not there. It's going to fail. But the logic is correct, but the resources are not there. Things like that. That's runtime error. Compile time, link time, runtime error. Do we know that now? We're good? All right. That's the compilation process. Now, in here, there is no way for me to be able to teach everything that you see in here. So welcome to object-oriented. There are several, they are talking about namespaces over there that I did not mention, okay? Those are actually important. I'm going to talk about it in the lab when you're coming here. So labs are not casual things. You have to be there, okay? So in labs, we always finish the lectures that we have in here, okay? Remember that. So please go through everything that you see in these 3 things: object-oriented, object terminology, modular programming. See them all. Make sure that when the lab session is over, if there's still missing, something's missing, the next time you're going to come with questions and I'm going to cover them, right? I will never be able to cover everything. I'll try to, but it's impossible, okay? So I'll do my best. If something is missing or you didn't understand, you go through it and you come and tell me. We good? Anything you see in here is going to be question in concept questions. The way I design my tests, I go through the notes that I write in class. I take those notes out, modify them, give you as questions. So if you practice my notes, you get A+ in the subject and you pass it. That's how I do it. All right? What else I need to talk about today? Let me just, Namespaces I didn't talk about. Very bad place to put namespaces in, but I'll talk about it when you're coming for lab. I'm going to write you some code, and you'll see exactly how it is. So, object terminology, we went through it thoroughly. Please go through it and see what it is. Modular programming went through it too, so we know exactly what it is.
Sorry. I had a question about modules.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we have like two files, both of them are CPPs,
You write G++, yada CPP, yada CPP, enter.
yeah, and then maybe you have another one only for headers, something like
No,
that.
no, headers are never get compiled because headers are included. If you have a header file, that header file is included in a file. That inclusion means copy and paste, so it comes to the code.
So
You don't
what
need.
is so if we have a file .h, like we had it in C, do we have the same thing in C++? We had
Of
like
course.
a .h, so that header file.
That's one of the bases of the.
Okay, so then
By the way, .h is dropped in C++. So in C++, we don't have standard input output .h anymore. IOStream, which you were asking what it is, it's input output stream. Okay, that two objects that you see the C out that I type. You're gonna come the next day. You see there are two major objects, global objects. One is called C out. The other one is called C in. C out is console output. C in is console input. You insert into console output. It appears on a screen. You extract from console input. It's going to be read from the keyboard, and it's polymorphic. What does it mean? It means you don't have to tell the format to it. You insert an integer in C out. An integer will be printed. You insert a double. You insert a C string. You don't need to put %s, %d stuff. It knows.
Objects you're creating?
It's polymorphic. The action of printing is polymorphic.
Oh, yes, and part of,
So
is this part of
format
C++
specifiers are like.
There is no, you can. There are format specifiers. You'll see. It is done in different way.
Oh, that's.
So essentially, this is, because it's an object-oriented thing, you say, hey, console, your width is 10. Now print. So it prints in 10 spaces. Hey, console, your fill character is asterisk. Print. Now spaces will be replaced with asterisk. So you set its attributes, then you tell it to print. So we'll come to it soon, and you'll see exactly what it is. It is literally object-oriented. Yes?
my question was just now we have three files, CPP, and then a header. So which one is a module, which one is not a module? I just don't know. So can each of these...
Each file is a separate module. It depends. So theoretically, if you're a smart and intelligent and worthy programmer, your modules make sense, which means functions that relate to each other, classes that are related to each other, they exist in the same module. So you have one .cpp, and each module, other than main, usually has a header file. So I have menu.cpp, menu.h. I have food.cpp, I have food.h. I have table.cpp, I have table.h. Then I have main.cpp. My main.cpp is restaurant. And the restaurant is going to use menu, food, and table to manage the restaurant. Each one is a module.
Okay. So a file is a module, not necessarily a piece of code. It has to be...
No. It's a module is a separate file, hopefully with a header file.
Okay.
Yes. You were saying?
What's the name of the library you're using for like the default C+ modules? It's like.
There is no default thingy. So what you see at the top that I write include IOStream, write that, and using namespace std. And then you can use C in and C out. I'll explain it to you the next day.
It's like a standard.
IOStream is input and output stream. So it literally does anything that is related to input and output. And .h doesn't exist, okay, anymore. Okay, .h is only for custom header files. So if you create a menu.h, when you include it with double quotes, you have .h. But regular standard C++, so anything that comes from C, the .h is removed, a C is added to the beginning. So stdio.h becomes cstdio. M.h, that was for math, becomes cm.
That's why,
stdlb becomes cstdlib. It doesn't have a .h at the
that's
end.
why they call it superset, right?
What
Because
happens to
everything.
header files?
Yes, it is a superset, yeah.
What happens to header files?
Pardon me?
What happens to header files?
You use exactly the same, nothing.
Oh, okay.
Everything's the same. Language is the language, the same thing, no difference. Everything's used the same. We good? Okay. Please be on time in the lab. Okay? And if there is a quiz, you're going to know. And if you're a student with accommodation, you will have a booking for the same day at the test center. You can choose to come and do it in class if you're a student with accommodation. But if you come to the class, you're not accommodated anymore. You have to start and end with everybody else. If you want to use your accommodation rights, you have to do it in a test center. And I'll give this the whole day. So if our lab is on Friday, a student with accommodation can start 8 o'clock in the morning to night, whatever they want, they can go and do the test, okay? So every test, student with accommodations will have a booking in test center, but they can choose to come to class. And 60% of them usually do.
Have you sent anything for that for me yet?
Pardon? You will receive an email. If when I set a test and it's assigned, I will book it in a test center, and as soon as it's booked, you're going to receive an email from test center telling you. I haven't set anything yet.
Okay, so that's the tests. 'Cause the quiz.
Test, quiz, anything that is supposed to be done, test or quiz.
The quiz this Friday?
I have no idea. I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
Quizzes, you have nothing in advance. It is in the schedule, tells you when is the quiz. But quizzes are never announced. I'm going to tell you right now, I have a quiz. I will never announce a quiz, ever. You are not supposed to study for a quiz. You should be ready for a quiz. Tests, you study for. Quizzes is your daily knowledge. If you don't study, I'm sorry. You have to study for quizzes. You have to be ready. Quizzes, never announced. I'm telling you right now. Okay? I'm lying. It's going to be announced like 3-4 days in advance. But I'm not going to do 2 weeks in advance. Yes? Pardon me? Workshop 0, you do the command line, put a dash do, and see when is the due date. Dash do at the end. Because I have very bad memory, I never answer those questions of when is something is due. I wrote a program that when you put a dash do at the end, it gives you all the detail. Ask my program. Right? Submit, and then dash do at the end. It tells you when the due date is, exactly what time and everything. Okay? Question? Suggestion? Computer question. All right, so I'm going to pack my stuff. If I turn off this thing and you ask a question, I'm going to get pissed. You're good? All right. Have a good one.
So there's a problem.
All right.